Any dream matches you have?
So I know everybody wants to see the whole me versus Bailey thing. But like that would definitely be cool. But like I feel
Welcome back, Wrestle Nerds. Victor Villain here. Let's see who's making their way to the ring.
Mischief, you heard?
Pretty chubby flaco, dímelo mi gente.
Hey, and she captivated our hearts from the front row of the Performance Center, and now she's owning her craft in boondocks of Paulsboro, New Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, a future monster in the game herself. It's Izzy. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
How you doing?
Can I just say that was a great intro? Like I love that. That was like awesome.
Oh, thank you. No, we try our best. It's all
definitely.
for you.
So
how you feel?
Nah, shut up, Victor. I'm gonna ask you.
Right. Oh, stop.
So you trained at Monster Factory.
Yes.
What was that like?
Oh, that was such like an eye opener for me. Like in a good way, definitely. You know, like before, you know, I had to leave my pro wrestling school. So like I was definitely a little nervous if it, like I kind of had that thought like, is this something that I still love? And you know, as soon as I got into the ring, it was like, oh my God, I love it. But all the people there, Danny Cage, Camden, Travis Jacobs, like all of them, they were so good to me. And like, I really had a great time just really learning and training. And I made some really like cool friends that I will always talk to forever.
Awesome. Yes, one Camden royalty had the nicest things to say about you.
What'd you call
know
him personally?
Camden royalty.
Had
Royal
the
money.
Most wonderful things to
Royal
say.
money.
Royal money. Shout out to Royal Money.
Yeah, he was glowing.
Gave us our bumps and bruises himself.
Our wrestle dad, by the way.
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely had a great time out there in Monster Factory. You also do a lot of training in other genres per se, like boxing and jiu-jitsu. Talk to me about that real quick.
Well, I'm no longer doing jiu-jitsu, but I definitely have been keeping a lookout for a new school. But recently, somebody I've known for actually a while, he used to work at the UFC gym. He joined a new boxing school, and he was like, oh, hey, I would love to have a private with you and everything. And he's been doing that during this whole pandemic. So I was like, oh my God, heck yeah. And I went last Wednesday, and that was a lot of fun. So I'm going back this Friday. But going back to like circling back to my training, I'm doing a lot of workouts and like at my home because I have like my own garage and my own gym in my garage, and it's amazing. I absolutely love it. I have like pretty much everything I need. I have kettlebells. I have a squat rack. I have straight bars, easy curl bars, plates, everything I pretty much need. So I'm absolutely loving that.
Yeah, that's
awesome. Yeah, I noticed you have a bunch of posts on social media as well of your workouts and all that. I'm assuming the dieting and all that stuff comes with it too. I can eat all the training. What's the day in the life schedule look when you're going working out?
So first of all, let me just start off with, I just started school, so definitely that has changed my schedule a lot. This year I'm doing virtual school due to the whole pandemic, and also I have a lot more freedom. But I usually wake up around 7 a.m., and then usually I get ready and I go right down to my gym. What I've been doing is every other day I'll do DDP yoga, which has been amazing. I love that stuff. And then every other day I'll do some sort of like CrossFit workout. So like kettlebell swings, all that fun stuff. And then like usually I'll just go inside, I'll make a quick breakfast, I'll get ready for school and everything. And the cool part about school is like it ends at 1:00 for me because that's how much stuff I'm like able to get done in that time period. So it's not like I'm going to like 4:00 or 3:00, which is how long I was going when I was actually going to school. And then on Sundays, I have to film the Hot Tag, which is my exclusive social media show, and that takes
Plug it.
Yeah.
The Hot Tag.
Yeah, definitely. I actually filmed tonight, and I did a totally different interview, which will be coming out tomorrow. But probably when you guys have this interview up, it's probably going to be like way before.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so and also I've been doing a bunch of interviews, so that's definitely been really changing up my schedule. But overall, like my schedule is so like crazy sometimes. Like sometimes I'm super busy. Sometimes I'm like, I have nothing to do today. But other than that, go ahead.
You got a bunch of interviews. What's been your favorite?
Oh, wow. When it comes down to my favorite interviews, I think all of them have such like a different like part to them that I absolutely love. Today I posted one with Alex Gracia. She has literally been making her name known around the whole pro wrestling world. She was great. Like we have like a little friendship over social media. I recently did Jonathan Coachman. That was incredible. It was so cool. Yeah, it was really cool because we talked for like 20 minutes before I started to record, and he's done so many things for me. So like it was definitely cool to just talk to him via Zoom. And also my other like absolute favorite one is my second interview with Tommaso Ciampa. My actual first very interview was with him, and it's kind of funny whenever I go back to it and watch it. It's like so weird because I'm like, oh my god, I was like terrible back then. But now it's like, wow, I'm like kind of good at it. But my second one with him is like one of my absolute favorites because I feel like I looked like myself. It was very raw. It doesn't feel so like mechanic and robotic. So that's why I really love that one. But like I said, all of them I absolutely love, and they have such a uniqueness to them.
Who was the most intimidating person to interview? Like you went up to him and you're like, oh man.
Well, that's hard because when I first started to do interviews, I was always so scared to go up to anybody. But actually, and this is actually one of my other favorite ones, I got to interview Scott Hall. And it was a very quick one. So when he got out of the limo, this limo like pulled up at Full Sail, and it was Wednesday Night War, so AEW versus NXT for the first time. So he pulled up and he like got out of the car, and I was like, oh my god. My dad, who was standing next to me with the camera, and I was like, excuse me, Scott Hall, can I get an interview? And like I said, back then I was so scared to approach anybody. So he was like, oh yeah, sure. And it was like super quick, but it was like at the same time, it was like, oh my god, that just happened. So in a like, I don't want to say in a bad way it was intimidating, but like it was kind of like, oh my god, I'm like, this is happening.
It was like a scary moment, right? You're like, oh man, like.
Yes, definitely.
Did he have the toothpick?
Oh no.
Yes, he did have the toothpick. Yes. Okay. Yes. So like once I asked him like one question, like what's his whole like what he think of like the whole Wednesday Night Wars. He said, oh, it's gonna be great. Back in the day, this is how things rolled. And then he was like, I forgot what he said at the end. And then he just like turned away and he put the toothpick in. I was like, oh my god.
No.
Oh, that's epic.
Yeah, definitely.
He did the thing. He did the thing. Yes.
He did the toothpick
thing with the toothpick and the thing. Nice. Scout.
So,
oh man.
You've trained in a bunch of things. What's been the most difficult training that you've had to endure?
I really think all of them. It's almost like how my interviews, like they're all of them.
That's
like
cheating. You gotta pick one, Izzy. What is this?
No,
what is this? All of them.
No, it's very hard to pick between all of them. You know, pro wrestling training, a lot of cardio. You gotta be like hella in shape. My strength training in my garage, that is like, it comes down to like how far are you willing to go. Like sometimes you just feel like breaking down. Like on chest day, like I'm like, I cannot do another chest press. Like I can't even lift like a 5-pound weight anymore. Amateur wrestling, which the season I think is starting soon, but I'm thinking of going back in spring. Amateur wrestling, that's pretty hard, and especially for me, with me being a girl, I'm like the only girl on the team, so definitely it's hard, you know, keep competing against boys all the time. And then BJJ, I think it's really the mechanics that's the hardest because, you know, you have to make sure your grips are right. You want to make sure that you're getting points during a tournament. And then kickboxing and like all that other stuff that I did last week, it's just like I said, it's almost like pro wrestling where it's cardio.
What do you enjoy the most?
Definitely pro wrestling training, but besides that, I love BJJ. It's so much fun. I just love being able to armbar somebody whenever I can. But like I said, pro wrestling, I really love. Like it's something like I can always like turn back to and say, this is what I love.
Glad you said love that. You've been seen. You've been known to be seen in the front row of the Performance Center, like we mentioned before. what was the moment that you realized this is it? You're gonna take this to the next step, and you're gonna go and take this journey on to your dream and make it happen.
I think it was when I was like definitely like growing up and everything. So I want to say when I was like 10-ish. Like I honestly really don't remember like the moment, but like I remember like thinking to myself, I was like, man, I really like this. This is like really cool. Like it's something that I enjoy to watch. I would love to have that like kind of transfer that feeling to somebody else. Like, oh my god, like I love watching this person. So like I really thought like that was like kind of how I got into it, and like when I turned like 11, like things got really serious, and then like I had like I've been having like doses of reality like recently, and I'm like, oh my god, in like 5 years, like I'm 18, like it's go time. And so like my dad, he always talks to me. He's like, you gotta like next year when you're in high school, like you gotta go. Like it's time to get serious. So definitely
Wow.
it's crazy because like looking back, I'm like, oh my god, I was like not truly serious about this, and now I am. And so like a lot of big things have been happening recently for me, like a lot of big projects and everything. And I'm like, oh my god, this is like all happening like so quickly, like not in a bad way, but I'm like, wow. And it's like sometimes you got to take a step back and say, this is so cool.
Nice,
awesome.
nice.
That's awesome. Izzy, I have a question
Yes.
for you. So which wrestler do you believe inspires your wrestling style the most?
Oh, wow. Um,
That's a good question.
yeah, that is. so I So I've always looked up to her before she joined WWE and everything, but I've always had a love for Ronda Rousey. I've read bits and pieces of her book. I really like find my story very relatable to her. With her whole mom being extremely hard on her. That's the same way with my parents. Really, I think it's really that part and just her journey, like she was always coming over like adversity and stuff. But also somebody I really look up to is Alundra Blaze. I've had a huge connection with her.
Nice.
Like I truly look up to her, and like I want to be like her one day. But also I want to be the next Izzy one day and truly pave my own way in some way.
That's
Facts,
awesome.
facts.
That's
Love that
awesome.
answer. Is you love it.
Thank you.
Um, so walk me through your first match. Was there any jitterbugs? Like, was you nervous? Were you excited? Talk to me. Walk me through that experience real quick.
Oh, it was definitely scary for me. I know it's very hard to get that matched up because, everybody was looking at it as a man versus a little girl. Well, I want to say it was 10. So definitely that was such a huge eye opener for me in so many ways. And I'm so glad I actually did that match, even though it shut so many doors for me. And it opened like thousands of other doors too. Um, so going into it, I mean, I was doing a lot of pro wrestling training before, and so like I wasn't like extreme, like I knew what I was doing, but at the same time, it's like this is my first match, this is it, like, and the way they were like, I was building it up, Effy was building it up, like it was definitely like, oh my god, this is like huge. This is like my WrestleMania moment. So like from promos and promoting the match and everything, like it was so funny. Like the week before, I was at an NXT show and like some lady walking out of the bathroom was like, "Oh, Izzy, good luck on your match against Effy," and I was like, "Oh my god, like this is like actually happening. Like people are taking this serious." So when I like got to the arena, or I don't know, say the promotion or whatever you want to call it, I was definitely nervous. But once Effy and even Leva Bates, because I was teaming up with Leva too, they were just like, we were going over the match, what was happening. I kind of was like, okay, I'll be fine. I definitely, looking back at the match, I had no clue what I was doing. I feel like if I did it now, I would be like, it would be one of the best matches. Um,
Can't
but
wait.
yes, but afterwards, it was definitely hard for me. Like, it was a like pretty, I don't want to say dark time, but it was like a dark time for me. I had to leave my pro wrestling school, and like that was something that was like really keeping me going, and it was something
That
I absolutely love.
that
And
match
then
was controversial. I don't remember it being.
it was very controversial because a lot of people saw this little clip of me taking a choke slam, but really it was a whole match, and a lot of people said that I was too young to be in the ring. Um,
See
but
where
I was, but at the same time, I was very safe. Everybody around me kept me safe. If you watch the video back again, you can even see Effie's knees hit the mat before my back hit the mat during the choke slam. So that part was a little annoying, but overall, it was such a great experience. And like I said, it took a couple of things away from me. I had to leave my wrestling school. A lot of my trainers, they turned their backs on me, and then I had to leave my wrestling promotion. But I now looking back at it, I'm like, wow, I'm in a great spot now. Like, I'm so happy in my life. I love what I'm doing. I have a show that's doing amazing. I'm doing interviews that I learn from every single time. And also at the same time, I have big things coming up that I don't even know where they can end up. And they can really like end up like, I don't know, somewhere. And it's like, wow, this is crazy. So definitely, like I said, an eye opener for me, and in good and bad ways. But I feel like what I really learned from that experience is you can't always trust people. Like, you always got to like have eyes in the back of your head.
That's interesting because, we've recently seen a lot of like the dark underbelly, particularly of like the indie scene and like training camps and things like that. So you kind of had a little bit of experience with that kind of like mentality, that old school, like hardcore mentality where it's like lock people out and ostracize them and get kicked out. Wow, that's incredible. I didn't know there was so much heat for that.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but now like, it's so funny, like I barely get it. Like, I was like during the pandemic, I went to a seminar for Serena Deeb and Sarah Stock, and really nobody said anything about me being too young to go into the ring, which is like kind of funny because I'm like, okay, now nobody's gonna say anything, but at the same time, I really don't care. Like, this is my dream. Nobody's gonna stop me. Nobody's gonna say, "Oh, hey, you're way too young." But what I am gonna do is listen to the right people, and if they say, "Hey, really be safe," I'm gonna say, "Okay, I'll listen to you."
Right.
Yeah,
So yeah.
well,
That's awesome.
most definitely, and then we can vouch for Monster and second that thought theory of speak when spoken to, and keep your head down and listen mentalities, and learn, and make sure you learn your craft. They definitely teach that at Monster. We learned that firsthand. Hell of a school. And Izzy, talk to me a little bit more about your in work. What kind of moveset do you prefer? Or what kind of style is it that you sort of lean to when you're in there?
Well, so I'm gonna be honest. I'm a bit like of a wild card. So like I'm definitely still learning, but definitely I want to start getting into German suplexes because I don't know if you guys saw, but Alundra Blaze like tweeted me and was like, "Oh my god, you should do my finisher," and I was like, "Oh my god, heck yeah!" So she was like,
Yeah.
"We were DMing, yeah." So
I
we
was
were
like, big pop.
so we were DMing each other back and forth that night, and we were just talking about it. And I was like, "Oh my god, this is like something I can actually do." And also before that, I want to do the armbar because it's like legitimately my favorite move in BJJ. Like I love hitting that. So it was like really like it's very hard to find your style because there's so many. But I definitely got to think about it. But like I said, like I'm kind of like a wild card. I like to like do whatever I want.
Nice, nice. Pick out a little bit of each one, right?
Yes, definitely.
All right, we
Smart.
gotta ask you. All right. First of all, Vic wants to ask you a particular question about a particular person, so I'm gonna let him ask that question. Go ahead, yo.
I'm sure you get it all the time, Izzy, but the reality is you played a role in one of my favorite superstars moments at NXT Takeover Respect. Walk me through that experience with what Sasha Banks did during her match with Bayley to you, and just walk me through with how did you see it then, and how do you see it now?
So I did not know that was gonna happen at all. So it was definitely like a shock to me. Um, Looking back at it, I still don't know why I cried, but yeah, it was definitely a cool moment for me. And just like kind of a little start for my pro wrestling career. But yeah, I always get asked that like, oh, how was that like moment? So it's definitely cool looking back at it.
Nice, nice.
Did so you had no idea it was gonna happen? Did they know it was gonna happen?
You mean like Sasha and Bailey?
Yeah, Sasha and Bailey. Like, do you know if like they had worked that out? Like, ooh, I'm gonna
I'm
get that
sure.
girl.
I'm sure they did. I honestly, I don't really know that part, but I'm sure they did. They probably said, "Oh, we're gonna do this." Definitely would be a perfect heel move and everything. So,
Is that something that you'd like to emulate sometime later on in your career?
Ooh.
oh, wow. I can't do that to somebody because that was definitely a heartbreak for me.
Yes, you can, girl. That shit was crazy.
But it all comes down to if I want to be a heel or a face. But it doesn't really matter to me. Whoever they want me to be, I will be. But I don't know if I would. I can't do that to somebody. I'm way too nice to do that.
Did you ever get your headband back?
I did. Wait, it's actually right there.
Oh.
I don't think I can see it, but it's up there.
Oh, okay.
We
The
That's
actually,
awesome.
headband is
All right.
well and intact, ladies and
in
gentlemen.
the Izzy household, we retired the bow. So yeah, it's
That headband is part of history.
yeah.
Nice,
Wait,
nice.
I don't know if I can reach the thing. No, I can't reach it. I was like, oh,
No,
I should.
don't worry about it. As
Leave
long
alone,
as you
leave
have it,
alone.
that's what
So,
counts. Yeah.
You start grabbing stuff, things start falling, this thing falls apart again.
That'd be terrible.
You're good. You're good. As long as you
All right,
have it,
listen,
that's
just
what
do me a
counts.
favor, all right?
Well,
When you do your Hall of Fame speech at the end of your career, right?
Mhm.
You wear the bow. You
Oh,
gotta
that's
wear the bow.
funny.
you gotta wear the
Yeah.
You
The
gotta
the
wear
bow would probably be in like a little dusty box, and I would have to like blow on it, and like the dust would be like. It would be so like old and grimy. Actually, wait, speaking of old and grimy, so I don't know if you guys remember, but after the whole match, Sasha and Bailey actually got like these huge bouquet of flowers. Well, Sasha
Yes.
actually gave me like her bouquet of flowers.
nice.
And she
Wow.
texted me right after, and I was like, oh my god. And we actually, it's so funny. So we actually have some of the roses. They are literally disgusting. And we have the little bow that was a part of the whole thing. And like I know a lot of people may think like, okay, that's super dumb, but like at the same time, it's like kind of a
No.
cool like piece and everything.
Nah, that's cool as hell.
That's awesome.
Screw
The
it.
Yeah,
thinking
That's
of it, I
pretty
should
dope.
actually put it in the display case. I'm pretty sure it would stink up the whole room, but like I don't know.
It's like
And
Vic. Don't you have some of that confetti from Shawn Michaels when he
I
won
don't
that
know
first
what you
elimination
speak of.
chamber?
I don't know that, man.
You
I don't know
you know
confetti.
what I'm
No,
talking
no
about?
celebrations
Yeah.
on my end. But
Yeah. You
that's
have
neither
some of that
here,
confetti.
there, or there.
You
So,
have some of that confetti.
but dastardly deeds is definitely something a characteristic one heel would play, and it fit her nature. But in regards to you, promo work is also something that a heel carries. How well are you, or how comfortable do you feel with your promo work and abilities to speak on the mic?
So I've been doing like a lot of promos actually. So when I like getting started into pro wrestling, I was like a part of a wrestling promotion that was pretty close to me. And so like I was a heel manager, so like every time I would go out and do a promo right before the guys match. So that I was pretty comfortable with that. And then I was like, okay, I'm like I haven't really done a lot of promos lately, and this was like at the start of the pandemic. I was like, how about like I just get more comfortable, and it's not that I'm not like comfortable with them. Like I was like, okay, let me just try again. So like I kind of like made a whole story. Like my dad would film me, and then sometimes he would have to go to work, so I would just set up the camera by myself, and I would just make almost like a little storyline. That sounds totally crazy, but it totally works.
No,
Um,
I
We do
hear you.
that
I'm
now.
with you.
yeah, definitely. So what like I don't know, like some like I would really like stay in like a face character, so like that was like my whole thing. And it's like looking back at all those promos, it's like they all changed like over time. And I would always send them to my dad, and he'd be like, okay, I don't like this. This was good. This was but I always take that feedback and I'm like, okay, let me apply it to my next one.
Wow. That is amazing that you have that supporting cast.
Yes.
My God, it is a blessing.
It
Is a
really
blessing.
is. My parents are awesome.
Wow. It must be so easy for you to discuss wrestling with your father and things like that nature. Like,
Yeah.
did you like this promo? Is this promo working? Did it get over? Did it not?
At the same time, it's like super scary because I'm like, I don't want him to like totally hate it. But my mom, she's like super supportive as well. And so like I feel like she goes a little too easy on me sometimes, but like I still love her. My dad, he's definitely like, I hated that.
You're just like,
Also,
Izzy, this is trash.
Nice.
I feel like he's
Take
gonna
this
say that one
garbage.
day.
Control Alt Delete. Control Alt Delete.
And it's so funny. So like sometimes, so what I do is on my hot tags, I'll usually send him like what I have, just in case it doesn't sound like super dumb or it's like, what are you talking about, child? And usually he'll say, okay, restart it. It's no big deal. But usually when I send it to him, it's probably one of the most intense like 5 minutes of my life because I'm like, and usually when it has that little red receipt in it, I'm like, oh my god, this is
typing.
I'm like, it gets me so scared. Like sometimes when he says, "Oh, I really liked it," and I'm like, "Okay, thank you," and I have like a little bit to breathe. But sometimes he's like, "I did not get this," and I'm like, "Oh no, oh my god, no!" But it's like totally fine because sometimes like some weeks I'm like absolutely terrible and I'm like, okay, let me restart. And that like really the whole like process of it is like just thinking like what I want to talk about and how I want to paint, like what I want my viewers to like get from like the match I'm breaking down.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Chris.
I want to change gears real quick. How many you've already been experienced in the ring for quite some time now. I'm sure you've given it to some thought by now, or maybe once or twice. Any dream matches you're thinking of, or like let's not just say dream matches. Let's just say anybody you're looking forward to working with or picking their brain